Hi, I'm Gaurav Jial and I congratulate all the candidates for clearing the first phase of NID entrance examination. For NID, the number of candidates selected are 3 times the number of seats, which means your competition will be a little tougher because the candidates selected will be as good or even better than you. So the second phase of NID entrance examination comprises of studio test, interview and portfolio. So you must be wondering what NID Studio Test is like. In the first phase, you were tested upon your writing and drawing skills. So in the second phase, you will be evaluated based on your ability to handle different materials and keenness of your senses. So in the studio test, you will be asked mainly 2 kinds of questions. One based on your observation skills and second conceptualization. So some examples of the NID questions are, one can be on doodling, wherein you have to connect broken and incomplete lines and write a caption. Another might be based upon your observation skills, in which you might have to make an LPG cylinder 1/10 the size of the original proportion. Some questions might be based on sensory perception. You might be given a visual of say extreme close-up of different objects, for example a camera, a crocodile or even spectacles. And from those extreme close-ups, you'll have to identify the original object. One question might be based on your conceptualization skills. For example, you might be given a soap and you have to create or carve something out on the theme soft corner. In the interview, you will be given a chance to showcase your previous work as well as your other skills and talents. For example, you can even dance, you can sing, your artwork or your work can be of any size, any medium. The interview panel will be assessing you on the genuinity of your work and your personality. So I'm here to give you an insight on how to handle different materials for the studio test. So this exercise is about creating a road roller from thermocol. Now since the reference is not given to us, so we have to rely on our observation and our memory. Now since road roller is not a very frequently seen object or a machine, so you'll have to think a little hard and to recall all the details that you can. So the kind of road roller that I remember is from my childhood, which used to be called the Road Queen, and it looks something like this. It's important to understand a medium because there is only some kind of details that you can give depending on the material. So in thermocol, depending on your proficiency, you can give as many details as you want. I won't make this too complex because I want to make it simple, and owing to the time limit, I have to respect that as well and complete my assignment. So let's start modeling, and this is the thermocol that we're going to use. It's a 4-inch sheet, and now thermocol also you get in different kinds. Like this is a little less denser, you get even more denser thermocol, which is even better for modeling because these thermocol balls that you can see, which the thermocol is made up of, the smaller and more denser the balls, the more quality and more harder the thermocol will be. So let's get started. So to begin with the construction of road roller, I'll divide the road roller into pieces. For example, I'll make the 2 wheels separately, the body separately, maybe the exhaust and the light separately. So to make the wheels, what I'll do is I'll use these 2 tapes. You can use even a compass or something like that. Anything circular, depending on your size. So I'll use this one for the front one and this one for the rear. So I'll take a sketch pen and mark them on the thermocol piece. To avoid wastage, I am trying to use one edge, starting from one edge, then I can move on either directions. So I don't waste too much thermocol. If I start making here somewhere, then all the side thermocol will get wasted. So now depending on the thickness of the wheel, the rear wheel you want, since I need 2 of them, only one front and 2 of the rear ones, I can make 1 wheel and then cut into half to make 2, or if I need the thickness, then I can make 2 of them. I think I'm going to cut this one into half and make 2 wheels out of 1. And the body, I'll use a ruler and I'm making it upside down. So I can get a clean edge on the bottom. Alright, and then I have different parts, for example, the exhaust, as well as the headlight. Now I can either draw it freehand, or I can use something like a small cap like this. Again, since I have such a thick thermocol, I can easily have 4 or 5 circular headlights from this one. So anything else that I have the headlights, the exhaust, the body, the wheels, and maybe this part which is right here, which would be, so I can use the tape again as a reference. So I'll create one curve, and then so now we can start cutting this thermocol pieces. And so the best tool to cut thermocol is a hacksaw blade, which I have right here. The finer cutting you can do with a paper cutter, a big one, something like this. But for a crude cut, I can totally use this hacksaw blade, and you'll know why. And for refining the shape, I can remove the negative space. Because it's a perfect circle, so you have to be careful, because to maintain the shape of the circle, you cannot just, you have to remove the negative space slowly. So I'm reaching the shape which I need. I'm reaching almost the right shape. So what I can do now is use an Emery paper to chop off and refine the rest of the shape. So here I have the sandpaper or Emery paper. The black one is a finer one. You can see it's really fine, the grains over here. And this one is more coarse. Which means if I have to remove a large chunk of thermocol, I can use the coarse one. And if I really want to refine and give smooth edges, I can use the black one, which is a finer one. So I just take a small piece. And now these edges I can start to sand. See how quickly you can achieve the right shape. So similarly, I'll have to cut all these shapes with a hacksaw first. So now we have all the parts ready. For example, the front tire, the rear wheels, the body, exhaust, rooftop, the headlights and different parts of the road roller. So I'll show you some tricks which you can use for carving and engraving things. For example, if I have this cap, what I can do is, on a piece of this emery paper or sandpaper, I'll just mark the outline that I need to cut. Now I'll cut it out and stick it back on the top part of this cap. So as you can see, I can use this cap to neatly make a groove which is perfectly circular. And there is another trick, which is, if I take a small piece of this sandpaper, fold it like this, maybe even smaller, something like this. And now if I need a groove around this tire, then I can use this part to carve out the thermocol. You can even make a circular line to follow as a guide. So there we have a groove. I'll do the same thing with all the other wheels. I'll do the same thing with all the other wheels, and then all will be left is sticking these things together. One more thing that I have to do is that this wheel is going to go according to the diagram somewhere here. So I'll have to cut this portion right from here. I can take the reference of this wheel here, and I think this should be fine. Something like this, and I make a line that I have to cut, and then again I use a hacksaw to chop off this part first. Maybe I can chop this much. So as you can see, I've cut the front body in an arc, and to get more finishing, what I did was I took any bottle like this glue bottle, wrapped around my emery or sandpaper around it, and then I started to sand it. So this gives me a curve which gives this refined edge. Otherwise it can be very difficult to get the same curve right there. And now what I can do is I can start sticking it. So let's start from the front wheel. To stick thermocol together, you just need the white glue or say Fevicol. So I'll put some Fevicol in the front here. Be careful that you cannot use any rubber adhesive or say quick glue, because that will melt the thermocol. So here we are. I have stuck all the pieces together, just assembled them up, and my road roller is ready. So just a small tip, that in case you want to fill some area like a depression or something, you can mix the powdered thermocol with some Fevicol, mix it together and fill it up, and so you can fill any depression or some cavity. And it's a very simple technique, but thermocol is a very interesting material. You can carve almost anything out of it, and you can even, some people plaster over thermocol to give it more finishing. So hope you like this material, and hope you can use thermocol like solo, or you can mix around other materials with thermocol and have a great time. So here are some tips for you before you go for your second phase. One is that you should practice as much as possible beforehand, because you should not go there and try to think too much and waste too much time in thinking, because you will have very limited time. So you need that time to execute and make whatever you have to make. So it is possible that sometime you are creating a model during your test, and it can be a complicated one, you have been struggling too much, and it is a good idea, and just before you are about to finish and the time is about to end, what if it collapses? So do not worry and do not panic, because everything matters in the paper. Not just the finished product, which obviously it is important, but at the same time the process you took, the concept you made, that will hold equal amount of marks and value. And so do not worry if your final product didn't come out as fancy and as refined as you thought. Your process and your idea will also matter. So keep working and keep doing whatever you are doing till the time limit you have. So in these sessions you have learned a lot of techniques and how to handle material, how to combine them, but you should imbibe and absorb the techniques and not the concept itself, because as you have seen what we have made in this session, a lot of other people would have seen, and so it's not very wise to use the same concept and reproduce during the test. So use your creativity and use your imagination and create something interesting and unique. So best of luck to everyone, and I hope these sessions will be very helpful to you when you attempt the exam. And so bye bye for now and take care.